Course in Miracles, Chapter 3, Section 7, Beyond Perception. We said before that the abilities which you possess are only shadows of your true strengths. Meaning, so all the abilities, accomplishments, talents we think make us special and worthy don't hold a candle to the perfection that we already are. And knowing that and having that knowledge makes all abilities seem meaningless. The Spirit's true functions are knowing, loving, and creating. The intrusion of the ability to perceive was inherently judgmental. So we judge a person or ability as good or bad, better or worse. This was introduced only after the separation. No one has been sure of anything since then. So we have forgotten that we are already equal and that we're just really happy to be together and be equal. You will also remember that I have made it very clear that the resurrection was the return to knowledge. And isn't that an incredible definition of the resurrection, right? The belief in death, the crucifixion, is only believing in fear, which isn't true anyway. But God never dies. Knowing never dies, and neither does his child. So the resurrection was simply the return to the right mind of knowing that we are God, we are one. And this was accomplished by the union of my will, so Jesus' will, with the Father's. Yes. Since the separation, the words create and make are inevitably confused. So create is with love and making is of the ego, meaning we need to make something, if we're making something to make us special or happy, like lots of money or a perfect mate, right? Because we feel inadequate. That's not creating, that's making. When you make something, you make it first out of a sense of lack or need. And second, out of a something that already exists. I have forgotten that I am pure love and completely full of happiness, and this already exists. What already exists is my completeness and fulfillment, my fulfilling feeling of love. So I don't need to make anything, right? Anything that is made for a specific purpose. It has no true generalizability, right? It's just about me, making something special for me to make me special. When you make something to fulfill a perceived lack, which is obviously why you would make anything, you are tacitly implying that you believe in separation. So I believe I need something to be complete. Knowing does not lead to doing, as we have frequently observed already. So we don't need to do anything because we are already complete and simply feel it inside. Earlier, the miracle was associated with perception and not with knowing. So remember, our perception of our brother changes through giving a miracle, which is an expression of love, because we see our brother as the Holy Son of God instead of our projections. So the miracle helped us undo our perceptions. However, we also noted that prayer is the medium of miracles and also the natural communication of the Creator and the Creator. At root, prayer is always an affirmation of knowledge, not of accurate perception. I'll explain that. So true prayer is affirming that you are the Holy Son of God. Just knowing that that is all that is true. You simply are. I simply am. Accurate perception is asking for that perception. Oh, I need my debts to be cleared or my friend to be healed. True prayer is knowing that I already am the holy child of God, of which there is nothing but perfection. Anything else is not possible because anything else is not the qualities of God, and hence is the child of God, which is me, right? So true prayer doesn't even look at perception. I just state that I am what I am. However, okay, we've done that. That is why, unless perception has entered into it, it calls on revelation. The confusion between your own creation and what you make is so profound that it has literally become impossible to know anything, because knowledge is always stable. I am what I am. It is quite evident that you are not. Nevertheless, you are perfectly stable as God created you. In this sense, when your behavior is unstable, you are obviously disagreeing with God's idea of creation. This is a fundamental right of yours, although not one you would care to exercise if you were in your right mind. So, if I am in the knowledge that I am the Holy Son of God and that nothing is going wrong, I would not even consider worrying about my perceptions in my life. I would let go and let God. I only ever observe something negative if I'm feeling guilty. I'm projecting. God has already told me to let it go, to learn the lesson and move forward with the learning. And always the learning is to do the moral thing. Okay. So we just need to get back into our right mind. The problem that is bothering you most is the fundamental question which you continually ask yourself, but which cannot properly be directed to yourself at all. You keep on asking yourself what you are. This implies that the answer is not only one which you know, but one which is up to you. You think it's up to you. The first part of this statement is perfectly true, but the second part is not. So I keep asking, what am I? Who am I? Which implies that I know that I am. And that is it. I am God, I am love. I actually do know the beautiful completeness of who I am. The second part, but I am not the doer. Thy will be done. My perception of what is going on will show me how much love I love myself and claimed all that I am. God is the doer. It's just my perception that makes it appear negative. We have frequently commented on the absolute necessity of correcting all fallacious thinking which associates you in any way with your own creation. We are not in control. God is in control. Let go and let God, and just know that you are love. You cannot perceive yourself correctly. That's like an oxymoron. Perceive and self, they don't go together. You have no image at all. The word image is always perception related and is not a product of knowing. Images are symbolic and stand for something else. So personality, skills, identity I created these because I forgot I was perfect and decided to create a world that would make me feel enough, accomplished, or not accomplished. So those are all images. The current emphasis on changing your image is a good description of the power of perception, but it implies that there is nothing to know, right? The images I have created fool me into believing that I don't need to know God anymore, but what I have made is nothing to the incredibly expansive sweetness of the knowledge of knowing who I really am. So all these things I've created out there or made out there, I think I don't need to remember who I am. These are going to fill me up and fix me. Prayer is the medium of miracles, not because God created perceptions, but because God created you. So prayer again is knowing that I am that, being the expression of love. I am perfect health, abundance, joy, connection, contentment, and all the qualities I can think of are like God. Any other thoughts are an illusion. At the beginning of this course, we said that you are a miracle. Therefore, the miracle worker is a miracle not of his own creation. Unless perception rests on something, on some knowing basis, it is so unstable and it doesn't mean anything. So knowing that I am divine has nothing to do with perception. I can't perceive it. There's no opinion on it. There's no perception opinion. I can't go and make it out there. I simply am divine. Knowing is not open to interpretation because its meaning is its own. It is possible to interpret meaning, but this is always open to error because it involves the perception of meaning. All of these wholly needless complexities are the result of your attempt to regard yourself as both separated and unseparated at the same time. So I said to look at the footnote here. I think Robert Perry did a great footnote. Oops. I can't get it. Oh well, I'll explain it to you. Well, you are either in the ego mind, in fear, or you're in love. You cannot be both. You cannot be both at the same time. All right? You're either coming from the source and expressing from in here, or you're out there trying to find the source out there, which it isn't. It is impossible to undertake a confusion as fundamental as this without engaging in further confusion. All right? Yeah. Being out there to find it is just going to create more confusion. Methodologically, your mind has been very creative, but as always occurs when method and content are separated, it has not been utilized for anything but an attempt to escape a fundamental and entirely inescapable impasse. So I have been very creative and ingenious in trying to make happiness, but trying to get to knowledge through doing all these things out there, it's not going to happen. Trying to create fulfillment from the outside is never going to get me to true knowledge and contentment, no matter how hard I try. It's like trying to make a banana milkshake out of strawberries. It's never going to happen. Although you never know with scientists these days. Knowledge does not require ingenuity at all. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to be good at anything. It's free and it's in here. When we say the truth shall set you free, we mean that all this kind of thinking is a waste of time, but that you are free of the need of engaging in it. Just come home to my heart. Stop the race. I don't need to keep trying so hard. I need to come home and get in touch with the inner joy that is the engine of my life. Note again that the functions of the Spirit were not referred to as abilities. God knows nothing of abilities. We don't need any abilities in spirit. This point requires clarification because abilities are beliefs which are based on the scarcity fallacy, since an ability does not mean anything apart from comparisons to the ability as it appears to others. Nobody has none of an ability, and nobody has all of it. That is, of course, why the bell curve never rests on a straight line. This relativity of abilities demonstrates that abilities are not functions of the Spirit, because we're all equal in spirit. The Spirit's functions are not relative. They are absolute. They are of God and in God, and therefore like God. With abilities, people are not equal. We all have different abilities that we think make us unique and special, but we are all equal and already enough in spirit and just happy to be together. Prayer is a way of asking for something. When we said that prayer is the medium of miracles, we also said that we also said that the only meaningful prayer is for forgiveness, because those who have been forgiven have everything. Once forgiveness has been accepted, prayer, in the usual sense, becomes utterly without meaning. We need nothing. We need to ask for nothing because we already know we are. Essentially, a prayer for forgiveness is nothing more than a request that we may be able to recognize something we already have. So, the only prayer I need to say is to recognize and to remember that I am perfection already. I have all, I am. I state it, this is my prayer. I have all the qualities of God. And if I see anything else, it is a projection, it is an illusion. I just need to know that I am all that God is. That is true prayer. Stating what you are, what everybody is the trueness of God and an expression of love. That's a prayer. In electing the ability to perceive instead of the will to know, you place yourself in a position where you could resemble your Father only by perceiving miraculously. But we lost that knowledge that you yourself are a miracle, right? I am an expression of love. That is the prayer itself. I am an expression of love. Miraculous creation was your own source and also your own real function. God created man in his own image and likeness is correct in meaning, but the words are open to considerable misinterpretation. This is avoided, however, if image is understood to mean thought and likeness is taken as of a like quality. God did create the Son in his own thought. We are a thought of God, right? We are an expression of God, an expression of love, and of a quality like his own. So, what did I write here? So, there is nothing else. I have all these qualities of God. I am an expression of love. Perception is impossible without a belief in more or less. Unless perception at every level involves selectivity, it is incapable of organization. In all three types of perception, there is a continual process of accepting and in all types of perception, there is a continual process of accepting and rejecting, of organizing and reorganizing, and of shifting and changing focus. Perception, because perception is an opinion, right? It is not a fact. It changes from one person to another, and it changes from over time. It's like the flavor of the month, right? So it's always reorganizing and changing. Evaluation is an essential aspect of perception because it's not loving like the source is for forever and always, right? Because evaluation is an essential aspect of perception because judgment must be made as the basis for selection. Lack of lack is a concept which is meaningless to a perceiver because the ability to perceive all rests on lack. Any perception is not knowledge, not love, and not God. What happens to perceptions if there are no judgments and there is nothing but perfect equality? Perception is automatically useless. So we are not comparing ourselves to anyone. If there is no perception or judgment, we can simply let go and be equally perfect to the next guy, right? No more need for perception. Truth can only be known. All of it is equally true. And to know any part of it is to know all of it. You either are here or you're out there. You're either trying to get your joy from knowing who you are or trying to find joy out there. Only perception involves partial awareness. Knowledge transcends all the laws which govern perception. Partial knowledge is impossible. We just said that. It is all one and has no separate parts. The parts have not separated. This is the real knowledge. You who are really one with it need but know yourself, and your knowledge is complete. To know God's miracle is to know him. So to know the expression of love that I am is to know God, is to know him. Forgiveness is the healing of the perception of separation. So remember that I am an expression of love, a perfect expression of God. That's the healing, just to know that. Correct perception of each other is necessary only because minds have willed to see themselves as separate beings. So either I'm going to be projecting my self-hate out there or extending the self-love onto other people. I can do this both ways because myself and my brother are one. If I see the love of who she is within her, then I will also know that within myself. Once I'm really realize that I am the expression of love and be that love, then I will recognize it in others because I have it. Or if I recognize it in them, that means I've recognized it in myself. Each son knows God completely. This is the miraculous power of the Son. The fact that each son has this power completely is a fact which is entirely alien to human thinking, in which if any one has everything, there is nothing left. God's miracles are as total as his thoughts. So we are the miracles. We are the expression of love. Because they are his thoughts. God shines in them all with perfect light. If they recognize this light anywhere, they know it universally. Revelation cannot be explained because it is knowledge. Revelation happens. It is the only really natural happening because it reflects the nature of God. Paragraph 15. As long as perception lasts, prayer has a place. Which means as long as we're perceiving, we've forgotten, right? And so we need to just remember we are God. Since perception rests on lack, those who perceive have not totally accepted atonement and have given over themselves to truth. Perception is a separated state. That's right, I've forgotten who I am. I'm too busy living over there. And the perceiver does need healing. Communion, not prayer. So becoming one, communion, is the natural state of those who know. God and his miracles, us, are inseparable. All words, at best, are preparatory. The word is really a thought, so capital W. The word, God, is a thought, a knowing. No one word is universally meaningful because a word is just a symbol. But thought is not divisible at the level of creation. The original name for thought and word was the same. So when we're thinking in our right mind, we're thinking with God, we're thinking with love. We are thinking as an expression of love. The quotation should read, in the beginning was the thought, and the thought was with God, and the thought was God. How beautiful indeed are the thoughts of God who live in his light. Your worth is beyond perception because it is beyond doubt. Do not deceive yourself in different lights. Know yourself in the one light where the miracle, which is you, is perfectly clear. Nice. Thank you very much for joining me.